Good morning, everybody. It's 10:38 down here, which is what, 11:38 up there, I think? Yeah. Okay. Big news this morning, the aid flotilla that was on its way to Gaza, the Israeli military stopped it. I sit there and I see shit like that, and then they try to tell me that Israel is just trying to protect its country. Israel is doing genocide. We've already seen where people are planning or what they're going to build in Gaza once they kick everybody out. I don't know. I think they're making it a target for every terrorist in the world. But that's what that's what they're saying. They're gonna build some sort of resort. I don't know. Gaza doesn't have any beaches, though, does it? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Yes, it does. I think it does face something. Okay, hold on. We'll find out. I hate when I don't know something I should know. That I knew yesterday probably, but I don't know today. So how's everybody doing, huh? Oh yeah, Gaza has the Gulf of what do they call that? Anyhow, they've got water access, so that's another reason that they're gonna go out and make it a huge swimming pool for the rich and famous. There's supposedly a lot of feedback going back to Hegseth about the speech and everything he made, but I can't find legitimate sources. I can only find articles on YouTube, and I don't consider, and although I like to listen and I agree with a lot of the opinions of some of the people on here, I really don't, if I don't see it coming up in that particular story coming up in legitimate news sources, and I have a lot of legitimate news sources that I go to, then I think there's something wrong, and I don't trust the article, so I don't really get involved too much with it, But that's the crazy guy inside me, Well, don't you want people to watch your videos, man? Yes, I care that people watch the videos. It shows that I'm not completely wasting my time. I don't think I'm wasting my time either, I could put up videos about wood carving or something like that, but I'm not really good enough to do that for wood carving, even though some of my stuff is very, very, very good. I'm limited as to what I can do, and, it's not the cheap hobby everybody thinks it is, so I try to, do my thing. Alright. Moving right along. I don't know what they're going to do about that aid flotilla. I think that's just disgusting, Really. How can you say stuff like that? How can you do stuff like that, And then say you're not really trying genocide. You're starving people, mothers, kids. You're not hurting the terrorists. They've long since pretty much probably left the area and are now sitting in a hotel in Lebanon or something like that, resting up till you guys get, done doing all your crap. Well, here's another interesting little fact. The most banned writer in the world is Stephen King. No, I don't get that. You know, and the biggest state for banning books is Florida, so, you know, they don't want anybody to be able to read. Don't buy a car in Florida because, you know, if you can read, they're not going to sell it to you. God, that's disgusting. That's so stupid. The Shining is banned. Why? I thought it was a good movie. I didn't read the book. I saw the movie. I've read a lot of Stephen King's things, and they're very intense. You know, and they say, well, you shouldn't read it in high school. I read Lady Chatterley's Lover for a book report. I read Tropic of Cancer for a book report. Catch-22 when I was in this junior and senior in high school, when you had to do book reports. I read those books. That's what I read. I have the ability to read at a high level. I understand it, and I don't enjoy simple things unless they're comic books. I love comic books. One thing my brother and I had in common was a love of comic books well into our 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. You know, I can't really get comic books down here anymore, but I get, every once in a while I order a graphic novel, you know. Growing up, I didn't have them. It's a good thing. I probably wouldn't have been able to move around my house if I would have bought every one I could get my hands on. Love those things, you know. I guess that goes along with my being a visual person, that listening to things without a visual reference is kind of, you know, hard for me to do. Like when I listen to music, I have a visual reference of some sort. A girl, a situation, a car, a place, you know, whatever, my dog, whatever, you know. And it's a visual reference for me when I hear that music. And that stays with me forever, you know. I used to tell, my mother used to get very upset with me, because we would argue about some things, and this is before I realized that she was, you know, getting near 80 and was starting to forget certain things from her youth, you know. And it wasn't her fault, you know. It wasn't so much a physical thing. It's just that she's like a lot of people today. She didn't want to be in this, listening to this crap anymore, you know. So she sort of tuned a lot of stuff out, and that makes it difficult to keep your memory alive when you do that. But I just forgot what I was talking about. See what I'm saying? Anyhow, Stephen King is a great writer. Look, some of the stories are, I'm not into real scary stuff, you know. And this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous when I tell you, but the most scared I've been in a movie theater was a scene from Jaws, where the head floats into this wrecked ship on the bottom, and you know, I got to a point with that movie that every time I hear the music, my heart rate goes up, my blood pressure goes up, everything, you know, and I just get, it's not scared. I don't know whether it's scared or not, because I know it's just music, but I mean, it just really has that effect on my body. It's amazing. And that music, here's just a sidebar for that. That music is that the way it builds up, it's based on a steam locomotive. I don't know whether he did it in real life or not, but you'll get the same effect from people as they hear a steam locomotive start from the station and move out. It's just, you know, it's an increase in the bass beat, and it just does things to you. Bass beat affects my heart, you know, at times, depending on what it's about, you know. I think that's why I like Enter Sandman by Metallica so much, because of this boom, 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 you know. Well, I digress again, you know. That's what I do. That's my specialty. That's my niche in the world. When I'm talking to you, I digress. I go off the wall, you know. Trump was screaming about this in his meeting with all the generals. The enemy within. Yeah, there's an enemy within, all right. within the government, it is the government in this case, they are the enemy of the people. They're not there to help us. Name me an agency that's not infiltrated by Trump's goons and that's there to really, truly help you. Do you know? Has anybody got anything to say about that? You know where the comment button is. Go ahead. Lash into me. If it's worthwhile what you're saying, I'll answer you. If not, don't worry about it. I'm not going to respond to you and tell you you're full of shit, because it's just, these are all opinions. There is no such thing as you can be wrong, but there's no such thing as a bad, I don't know, I don't know whether this is right or not, but I don't believe in bad opinions. I believe if you have an opinion, it's yours. Just don't try to shove it down my throat. If you can't explain it, then okay. But it's your opinion, it's your thought processes, it's not mine. We're definitely not going to agree on everything. That's just the way the human nature is, you know. That's why, like in politics, I consider myself an independent. I question everything. You know, the worst thing you could do to me growing up is tell me no. And I go, why? My mother understood that I wanted to know why. And she would try to explain to me why she said no. Unless she was extremely angry, in which case I just kept my mouth shut and didn't say anything because I knew it was coming if I didn't. My father, on the other hand, no was like, you know, he's a typical male from the 30s and 40s and whatnot. He just, you know, no means no. If you're a kid, you know, should be heard, should be seen and not heard, you know. In my case, it was not seen and not heard, you know. I heard a lot of stuff, though. I learned to listen because of that, those situations, you know. And I listen to, well, I don't listen to people to hear unless you send me a video. But I do listen to your, I do read your comments when you do put them up, and I'm appreciative of it, but I'm not going to respond to every one of them. It just gets my thought process mixed up, because when I go off the air, like today, I have 2 carving projects that I'm going to start, one of which I have to pick one to start today. Okay, I was working on another one for a long time, and I realized that I screwed it up someplace along the line, and there's no way to fix it. You know, I can't fix it. So, and believe me, I tried. I came close, but there was one part that the balance of the body was off, and I couldn't do it. I had that problem with humans. I don't have that problem when I'm doing birds or animals, you know, for the most part. I'm pretty good at that. Because I know animals. I know how they move. I've seen them, you know. The way they move. You know, it's like, one of my favorite animals is a black panther, and everybody says, why? Well, did you ever watch it move? My black cat, Keith, for my first solo pet. Yeah, that was my first solo pet, I think, after I moved out of the house. Keith was like I said, he came from a family of 10 Siamese cats with a name that was like 47 inches long, and I picked Keith out of it because he responded to it. And he was with me for 16 years. And he just died of old age. Don't like the way I handled him. I've handled every other pet that died since then differently, but that one I didn't handle right. But, you know, you ever watch a black cat move? The muscle structure is amazing. You get to see all the if it's lean and mean, you get to see all the muscles move. You get to see the the ripple effect of muscles and everything. It's just, to me, they're just one of the beautiful, spectacular animals, you know. And it has something to do with the color, accentuates the muscular structure of the animal, you know. I don't know. I'm a little nuts like that. Well, speaking of nuts, let's see who's playing tonight, and I'll give you a little bit of that one. I don't know whether I'm going to watch it tonight. Oh, wow. It's a classic matchup, Rams and 49ers. Those games used to be spectacular. They both had the same record, 3-1. I sort of give the edge to the Rams have Stafford and the 49ers have Purdy. If Purdy's 100%, 49ers are better. But we'll see what happens. I'm taking the 49ers because I love the 49ers, and the Los Angeles Rams cost me a Super Bowl win. Okay? So that's my little thing for you guys today. Going back to where I was. You know, going back to when I said I'm a visual person, I really love Bob Dylan. And I have a lot of his music, most of his old good music, his most popular stuff. This is, you know, I truly, really love it. And every song means something to me with that. You know, it brings back certain emotions from time period and whatnot. And this is from the moment I heard it, you know. So I'm a big Dylan fan. I met him twice. Casual introductions, you know. Shook my hand and went about his way. So I doubt if I walked up to him today, he wouldn't remember me. You know, I'm not sure I would remember him. You know, he has these different styles now, you know. He's an extremely talented individual. He's a winemaker and an artist and everything else. You know, he paints I don't know whether the critics like his work because it says Bob Dylan on it. I know they went nuts when he won a Nobel Prize. Something you don't have, Donnie. Okay, listen, that's it for today, all right? Go to the subscribe button, hit it. Just once, okay? You don't have to subscribe 10 times, just once. And you fill out what you got to fill out. It's not costing you any money, and if you don't like what you're getting, you can unsubscribe pretty quick, you know? And I don't want you to do that, but, you know, what can I tell you, you know? I know right now that I'm getting boring because the shit that's out there is, you know, depressing. All right, everybody, listen, you take care, and I will see you mañana.